Thank you very much for agreeing to speak to me here for FII TV. As former president of Bolivia, how important do you think it is for the world to look at Latin America and gain even more interest as it is now?
Well, I think it's important because of the future that we can build. In the past, yes, we were not a very democratic region. We are more so now. We can be a big player in the world of sustainable development, on green development, because we have the Amazon to protect with the lungs of the world, shall we say. And next to those lungs from the Amazon, we have huge mountains with great hydro potential, with wind and solar as well. And 60% of the world's lithium is in a triangle in South America. And in the world where the lithium has gone from our watches to our cell phones to our tablets, it will go to our cars, motorcycle and transportation, we can punch above our weight. And on the good side, do what happened to us on the tragic side, that we had less than 10% of the world's population, but almost 4 times that as percent of the world in terms of COVID deaths and mismanagement of that tragic virus. But we can do that in the world of clean energy. We can be overrepresented on the clean, sustainable energy world that is coming. And we have a seat at the table now that we used to not have before as the G20, and Brazil will be hosting the world here at the G20. So between Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, hopefully our voices as a region will be heard by the world and the potential that we have.
Tell us more about the growth markets you recognize in Bolivia.
We have good agro production on the eastern part. We could do more, chickens, beef, milk, not as much as the powerhouses like Argentina and Brazil that are very large countries, but good enough. We were a gas center of South America. We sold the gas to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and to Argentina for almost all of this century and a good chunk of the last century to Argentina. Unfortunately, because of the mismanagement of the energy sector in my country, the gas reserves have deplenished, have gone down, and they have not been replenished. So that is not so promising in the near future, although it takes exploration because the geology is there. But clearly, beyond all the sectors that we have, our biggest presentation card to the world is the fact that 1/4 of the world's lithium is in my country. With less than 1% of the gas supply of the world, we made my country the energy hub for South America. With 1/4 of the world's lithium, 25% of the world's lithium, we certainly have great potential so long as we develop the policies to bring the investments, the free trade zones, to make all the batteries for the cell phones, for the tablets, for the cars, and then eventually move up the value-added chain and stop repeating the perverse history of Latin America, which is the commodities go to Europe, they go to US, they go to Asia, and then when the bus comes down, when the prices implode, we have nothing left. I think we have to leverage the opportunities with lithium to make sure that we are a manufacturing industrial country with value added up on the supply chain.
Are gatherings like this a good place to discuss this and perhaps take some initiatives?
Yes, certainly, because this is convened first in Brazil, which is our neighbor. Half of our border is with Brazil, and we share the energy links and a lot of trade links. We're part of the same geographical area, and it's a great opportunity for the rest of the neighbors with the convening power of Brazil and the FII that has gotten us all here together with people that probably would be very difficult for us to get to see. You know, big players from the Gulf, from the Emirates, from Saudi Arabia that are behind this, a lot of tech people, a lot of fintech people. And I think it's a good combination to see how we can mingle and mix capital from other parts of the world with the amazing potential of Latin America, with a young, creative population that today has opportunities that when I was young we didn't have. When I was young, if you wanted access to information, you had to go to a university outside the country. Today, information is everywhere so long as you have a cell phone. And with artificial intelligence, which is the 4th wave of the technological revolution after PCs, internet, and the 2007 smartphones, now we're in the middle of the 4th wave, not even information is going to be available to us, but processing power. And the challenge for Latin America is to understand the opportunities that it brings. In Europe and Japan and the US, will there be job displacement because of artificial intelligence? Yes, probably, because they have enough doctors and lawyers and nurses and teachers. So artificial intelligence lets you provide those services with fewer people. in Sweden and Finland and the US and Japan. But in Latin America, we do not have enough teachers and nurses and doctors for health, for education, for white-collar services. And artificial intelligence, with less people, allows you to provide more services and develop more rapidly. So the sky is the limit. And in a place like this, you can talk with policymakers and investors and tech people and find out about innovations and things that you can learn and contribute in a forum that is pretty unique.
We hear a lot about the two big shifts happening, from the global west to the global east and from the global north to the global south. Is this something you yourself feel, or you think it's still more of a dialogue?
No, we have felt it for a long time. I'll tell you the little secret that we figured out at the beginning of the century, a long time ago, is in Latin America, from the Panama Canal on south, were more Chinese linked economically than to the North America. Certainly Mexico, Central America are more tied to the US. They have migrants, they get remittances, they have some manufacturing that goes there, they have tourism, and they are more intertwined with the United States. But in South America, what do we have? Food, energy, and minerals. What was China buying this century, creating a gigantic middle class? Food, soybeans, coffee, sugar from South America, energy, oil, coal, gas, minerals, zinc, tin, lead, copper, in the future lithium. So we were more linked with China, and I think, to be very frank, it's frustrating to see that the old traditional Western powers are closed when it comes to trade. If you try to discuss a trade agreement for any South American country in the US Congress, you get less than 10% of the votes. You cannot get it through. Europe has been negotiating, as the European Union, with Mercosur, the trade agreement that we have here in the south of South America, for 25 years. It's been the longest dating, never marrying negotiation in the history of trade negotiations. 25 years and nothing has happened. Whereas if you look to Asia, you see countries that are more open to trade, and it should be no surprise that you will see lots of countries, including Uruguay. They have a president who's the farthest thing from being a communist, but he's trying to negotiate trade agreement because he wants to sell his beef, his milk, his wine, and that's what Asia's buying, in particular China. So more trade links are developing across the Pacific. More than north, south, east, west, I prefer to think of South America looking more and more every day towards the Pacific than to the Atlantic because of the Asia explosive growth. And if you look at the future of lithium batteries and EV cars, electric vehicle cars, while Europe is putting tariffs on Chinese cars and the US is banning them outright, well, they're going to be coming here, and we have the lithium, and China is moving very rapidly on development of EV cars, so that will create even more links. So I think the Trans-Pacific beltway between Asia and South America will only get stronger if the US and Europe do not soon wake up and not realize that they're wasting a big opportunity.
Do you feel that Latin America is ready for all this?
Yes, I think we are, in the sense that we have a young population. Again, information is available everywhere. We do have lots of challenges on poverty still, on weak institutions, on democracy. We still have challenges because, like in Europe, in Latin America, to be a member, you have to go beyond just geographical proximity. In the European Union, you have a set of rules and institutions that you have to abide by. Same thing here. We're supposed to have democracies with independent institutions, with freedom of the press. Now, of course, if you look, we have Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua that don't go by those rules. You may have some problems in some countries in Europe, but all in all, we are, like Europe, a region that is founded on democracy and tries to adhere to those principles. And on top of that, we have developed the links to the Pacific, allowing for the Americas, which were very Atlantic-oriented as poor developing countries, to engage more as peers across the Pacific with China, India. I've been to India twice the last 6 months. They just overtook China in population. They are going to be a next great potential partner. So yes, are we completely ready? You're never completely ready, but I think there is a lot more complementarity and growth opportunities when you look across the Pacific than, unfortunately, in the Atlantic, because I can tell you that It is very frustrating if you go to Uruguay, Paraguay, Brazil, Argentina and say, European Union, why can't we get a trade agreement? The frank answer is French agricultural protectionism. Perhaps they don't want to say it out loud, I do. And so long as you have that, then you will continue to have a migration on trade flows and investment flows and integration flows towards the Pacific. And I think our region will prosper because of it, moving up ahead in this 21st century.
And just to sum up, you talked briefly about AI, but despite all the technology and all the excitement we see in terms of the technology and AI, how important is it still to sit down and talk?
Oh, it is. Nothing replaces direct contact and connection, because even if you want to learn more about AI, you can get on the internet and try to see it, or you can talk to people that are actually making things happen when it comes to technology. In Latin America, Nubank is the biggest digital, no branches bank, probably as a percent of the population in terms of service in the world. Mercado Libre can compete with Amazon and Alibaba, and we have delivery systems and a lot of digital progress that has happened that will only get exponentially quicker when we get to artificial intelligence. I think to me the key is, how do you go on events like this to find young, smart, creative people that are leveraging technology to do the fintech revolution, to do the trade revolution? How do you move that over to public policy? What makes me sad is that governments are always well behind in adapting to technology, to digital opportunities, and to artificial intelligence. Just a couple quick examples. Yes, the AI, there was a cover of The Economist, right? The AI doctor will see you now. With artificial intelligence, you can have access to the best doctors in the world, to the best teachers in the world, to the best lawyers in the world. How do we, as governments, make sure that we create open AI systems that are housed in the region? Because as you can probably imagine, Brazil will never accept judicial verdicts being done on an AI server in Nevada or in China, so they have to be located here. Now, if we want to locate them here, are we sure, how do we make sure we can provide the high-speed telecom links with the incredible energy demands, hopefully sustainable, to be able to house the artificial intelligence centers, to then leverage those not only for the young, smart people walking around here, but so governments can provide health, education, legal services to all of our communities, incorporating into the AI revolution.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot.